Cozy GV, yo, welcome back to the channel, gang. I hope you're doing good. So the Somalis in Minnesota, Minneapolis, Ohio, all around the world have all decided to come together and give Donald Trump a break from the roasting. Now look, it's Christmas. We don't celebrate Christmas. However, we do care about our neighbors. So we thought to ourselves, you know what? Let's give our neighbors a day of relaxation, you know? So while they're relaxing, what we're doing is we're actually regrouping and coming up with new methods how to roast Donald Trump. So while we're still figuring out new methods, I decided to put a few Somali history and Somali political history together for you guys. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it.
What if your DNA could prove that Somalis are one of the oldest peoples on Earth? Follow Somali Chronicles, where science meets history and DNA reveals what the world tried to hide. Let's talk about something deeper than blood: Somali DNA. Recent genetic studies show that Somalis carry one of the oldest lineages in East Africa, roots that trace back tens of thousands of years. Our ancestors are linked to the Cushitic peoples, one of the earliest African civilizations to speak complex languages, build trade routes, and develop coastal cities. The Somali genome shows a powerful mix: ancient Horn of Africa ancestry, blended with traces of Arabian and Northeast African heritage through centuries of trade, migration, and faith. But make no mistake, Somalis are native to Africa. The DNA doesn't lie. It tells a story of a people who have always been here, shaping, surviving, and thriving. Here's a question. Does DNA define who we are, or do stories and culture matter more? Another question. Do you think our ancient roots make Somalis one of Africa's original civilizations? And a simple one. Yes or no, did you know Somali DNA goes back over 40,000 years? Our identity isn't borrowed, it's inherited. Comment ancient, share this truth, and follow Somali Chronicles, because our history isn't theory, it's written in our blood.
Knew Somalis were the most intelligent. This material is from a book written by a British knight diplomat and colonial administrator, Sir Charles Eliot, during the British Empire era and was published 1905. He served Great Britain in Morocco, Turkey, Russia, Hong Kong, East Africa Protectorate and many places. He said, "The future of the Somali race is to my mind one of the most interesting and difficult of the problems presented by East Africa. For the present, I advise that we leave them alone, or at least avoid as far as possible the task of attacking them in their own territory. They are naturally isolated and, if our officers will only avoid getting killed, can do little harm by quarreling with one another in Jubaland. Our real task at present is rather to see that they do not encroach to the south and to prevent them from raiding the Tana River and the Lamu Archipelago. But we can hardly avoid in the future the further task of making a permanent settlement in Jubaland, and the delimitation of the Abyssinian, meaning stop Somali region expansion, frontier may perhaps precipitate that settlement. Certainly to be desired that we should utilize the Somalis. There can be no doubt that they are the most intelligent race in the Protectorate, though it may be urged with some justice that they are also proud, treacherous, fanatical, and vindictive. Too much stress, I think, is often laid on these bad qualities, and it is certain that the average Englishman has little sympathy for the Somali. He tolerates a black man who admits his inferiority, and even those who show a good fight and give in, but he cannot tolerate dark color combined with an intelligence in any way equal to his own. This is the secret of the almost universal dislike, and it reappears in the unpopularity of the Somali among East African officials. The Somali are not willing to agree to the simple plan of having a fair fight and then shaking hands when defeated, but constantly indicate that they think themselves our equals or superiors, and not unfrequently prove it. Whenever it is worth our while to occupy Jubaland and let them see a few hundred white men instead of half a dozen officials, which is literally all that they know of us at present, I anticipate that we shall not have much difficulty in getting on with them. The attractions of civilization are so great for them, and our superiority in this respect so incontestable, that there can hardly be any doubt as to the result. What will happen in the wider limits of Somaliland, north of the Juba, it is hard to predict, but the area to the south is sufficiently small to offer an easy field for the extension of European influence when it is commercially and financially worthwhile. Meanwhile, I think we had better let the Somalis alone, and avoid these conflicts between a lion and a swallow. This book is called The East Africa Protectorate by Charles Elliot, written in 1905. John Smith, Ramad TV.
Many Africans, including the Somalis themselves, have been asking me, why do you talk so much about the Somalis? Let me repeat myself again.
Tell them, my brother.
20 years back, I didn't know anything about the Somalis except what I saw on the media and except what people said about the Somalis, right? But when I started knowing the Somalis, about maybe 10 years ago, something like that, more than 10 years ago, my perception changed. As an academic, I started realizing that I have a responsibility to know more about the Somalis. Now I've known a lot about the Somalis. So I want to tell Africans to emulate what the Somalis are doing. So if you are an African listening to me, I will tell you, maybe you are still in the bubble. You still don't know who the Somalis are. You should find out yourself, right? The Somalis are the most resilient people I've ever met. I've done all my research around the world. What I've seen, I never knew that before, right? So I got this information and I want to share it out there to Africans. The reason I do this every day is because I want us Africans to be like the Somalis, to emulate them. I talked about their political resilience in the diaspora. No doubt about that. You have to go do your own research. Go watch my videos. They are there. They are championing African diaspora when it comes to political engagement, even in economic engagement, as this text here, as the statistics here shows, right? That is why I talked about it. So I want us Africans who are listening should emulate what the Somalis are doing, okay? In America, Somali Americans are the most self-reliant group in America. Highest performance in the self-support index in Minnesota shows the Somalis are leading there. That is just Minnesota, 84%, right? You can see the other groups, immigrant groups, the Somalis are topping. That tells you who these people are. And that tells you why I talked about them. Because we have to learn. The only way to succeed is to learn from others.
By the way, 84% in about 30 years. That's outstanding. Look, if you look at all the other groups here, yeah, they've been there before the Somalis, if you're actually being honest. Yes, the first Somali migrants and whatnot, yeah, was at 1909. But if we're talking an influx of hundreds of thousands of people, yes, the last 30 years, 84%. And this is just in Minnesota. So I'm curious to know what it looks like when it's the whole country.
That is why I talk about the Somalis every single day. Because I want us
within
Africans
30 years
who were taught the other way around about
That's mad.
the Somalis to understand that
MashaAllah.
these people, this community of people, are the most resilient as far as Africans are concerned. If you consider the trajectory of their development and their political situation, if they could be doing what they are doing now, give them 20 years, they are going to be the champions in Africa. That is a fact. You get it? So that is why I talk so much about the Somalis. I want us to emulate what the Somalis are doing. So thank you. If you follow my videos, please go back and follow more videos that I have talked about the Somalis. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
They will teach you about Egyptian history, about Arab scholars and Ottoman thinkers. But they will never tell you that one of Cairo's greatest teachers came from Zayla. And if you want the history they hide, make sure you follow Somali Chronicles, because this one rewrites everything. His name was Hassan al-Jabarti, a Somali mathematician, astronomer, philosopher, and theologian who lived in the 1700s. He didn't go to Cairo to learn. He went to teach. In a time when Europe claimed Africa had no science, Hassan al-Jabarti was running experiments in physics and astronomy that Cairo's top students came to witness. His home became a center of learning. His lectures influenced judges, scholars, and imams. And his legacy didn't end there. He became the father of Abd al-Rahman al-Jabarti, the most important Egyptian historian of the 18th and 19th centuries. Think about that. An entire chapter of Egyptian history was written by a Somali son. So here's the truth hidden from our textbooks. Why is Somalia never credited for producing one of the intellectual foundations of modern Cairo? How many more Somali scholars were erased from Arab and African history?
I personally believe there have been quite a lot of Somali influence in the past, but I don't think it was written in Somali. I genuinely believe it was written in Arabic. So that's why we don't come across a lot of stories like this regarding Somalis. That's my personal opinion.
And do you believe Somali greatness was intentionally buried? Yes or no?
I do.
Hassan al-Jabarti wasn't a student of the world. He helped educate it. His mind reached Cairo before colonizers ever reached Somalia. Comment: Somali genius. Share this truth and follow Somali Chronicles, where forgotten brilliance rises again.
Will you please go to the blackboard and explain this rhetoric reaction using electronic equations?
Noch in englischer Sprache, die Lehrerin aus der Sowjetunion.
Equation, we see that some elements change their valency after the reaction. At the cathode,
Chemie an einer Oberschule der Hauptstadt, Kenntnisse über die materielle Natur der Erde.
at the cathode, hydrogen will discharge.
Ein Frauenbildungszentrum. An der Tafel das Wort Revolution.
abaartu ku dhacday saddexda faa'iido laga helay dadkii abaartu ku dhacday
saddexda faa'iido laga helay waxay kala yihiin saddexda faa'iido oo laga helay waxay kala yihiin
Sie ist 19 Jahre, besuchte die Oberschule, lernte aus Büchern in Englisch, Italienisch, Arabisch. Ein Schulbuch in Somal, das ist neu. Seit 1972 hat ihre Muttersprache eine eigene Schrift. Errungenschaft der Revolution. Jeder hat das Recht auf Arbeit und Bildung. Lernen und Arbeiten mit dem wissenschaftlichen Sozialismus als angestrebtes Ziel. Lehrerbildungsinstitut an der Nationaluniversität. Genosse Präsident Siad Barre, neben Marx, Engels, Lenin.
So now it's fine. Not too much heat. No, it's fine.
Die einen geben uns einen Fisch und wenn wir ihn gegessen haben, hungern wir weiter.
Ja.
Die anderen geben uns das Angelzeug, damit wir alle Tage satt werden. Das wurde gesagt bei der Eröffnung dieser Lehrwerkstatt, Volksweisheit im somalischen Sprichwort. Voraussetzung für den historischen Fortschritt auch in Afrika, die Entwicklung einer Arbeiterklasse. Erstmals wird in Somalia Eisen geschmolzen, für dringend benötigte Ersatzteile und einfache landwirtschaftliche Geräte. Die Fabrik ist neu, die Produktion noch in den Anfängen. Aber es stärkt das Vertrauen in die eigene Kraft, hilft schneller auf eigenen Füßen zu stehen. Am Beginn des nicht-kapitalistischen Weges sagte Genosse Siad, Arbeit ist das Rückgrat der Wirtschaft eines Landes. Wir beabsichtigen, die Regierung in die Hände der arbeitenden Menschen zu legen. Im 7. Jahr der Revolution, Gründung der somalischen Revolutionären Sozialistischen Partei, Orientierung auf die Ausübung der Demokratie durch das werktätige Volk, die führende Rolle der Arbeiterklasse in der Perspektive. Damit beginnen, den Hunger endgültig zu besiegen, Bau eines Staubeckens, Bau eines Bewässerungssystems, mit sowjetischer Hilfe, wie in anderen Ländern, auch hier am Äquator. Wo Wasser ist, wird das ausgetrocknet. Heute Schüler, morgen Lehrer. Man sagt in Somalia, wenn du unwissend bist, lerne. Zählst du zu den Wissenden, lehre. In einem Schnellkurs werden aus 3000 ehemaligen Schülern 3000 Lehrer.
Ah, my brothers, man. My uncles, my brothers. All of them. Look at that. 1,000 years of history. Oh man, look at that, man. And they try to call our country a shithole. You son of a... Trying to call my country a shithole. Look at that. During this period, yeah, Somalia was at its highest. Somalia at this point, yeah, it was a democratic socialist country. We had free healthcare, free education, free everything. And you telling me you live in the land of the free. What is free in that land? What is your healthcare free? Is your education free? Free school meals? Free anything? So how are you calling yourself the land of the free? What is free? You are free. Free to do what? Anything you want. Okay. So you're free to say anything you want. Oh, you don't have free speech. Unless you target a certain, You ain't free. America has never ever been free. You were given the illusion that you were free, but you're listen, you're chained up. It's as simple as that. You're chained up. Free. I'm from the land of the free. Shut up, man. You're from nowhere, man. You're from nowhere. Land of the free. Bullshit. They got jealous. They saw Somalis here with the strongest air force on the continent. They thought, how are these people so quick to re-establish themselves after they've been colonized for 60 years? How? This is what these bigots, these far-right fucking fascists were thinking. How? Then what did they do? They assassinated John F. Kennedy, and within a few years, apart from each other, they assassinated. I'll show you who else they assassinated. You guys are so fucking jealous. These fucking far rights are so fucking jealous. You could not let Africans do their own shit. You can't stand an African country to stand on its own feet. I don't know, for some reason, it gets under your skin whenever you see an African country doing well. What are they trying to do to Burkina Faso? Come on, man. They never want an African country to stand for itself. Look at that.
dhalinyarada Soomaalidu waa kuwii miyi iyo magaalaba u baxay carwadii 14aad ee caalamiga ahayd oo lagu soo bandhigay xubnaha kala duwan ee kamida waxyaabaha uu ku dhisan yahay dhaqaalaha dalkeena.
Look at that, man.
madaxweyne ku-xigeenka Jaale Xuseen Kulmiye Afrax ayaa carwadaasi rasmi ahaan u furay halkaasina waxa ku soo dhaweysay gabadha madaxda ka ahayd carwadaasi. dabeetoo Jaale Kulmiye isaguna khudbad buu halkaasi ka akhriyay oo ku sharxayo ahamiyadda weyn ee carwadu ay u leedahay horumarinta dhaqaalaha dalka. Jaale Kulmiye dabeetoo waxa uu soo maray meelaha kala gaarka ah ee waxa lagu soo bandhigay carwadaasi.
Oh, man. I would love to be in the military. I swear to you, I would love to have my own battalion in the Somali military. I would love to.
madaxweynaha jamhuuriyadda dimuqraadiga ee Soomaalidu Jaale Maxamed Siyaad Barre waxa uu ku dhawaaqay in iftiinka tacliinta la wada gaarsiiyo ummadda Soomaaliyeed. Jaale Siyaadna waxa uu markaasi magaalada Xamar ka furay qaar ka mid ah dugsiyada cusub ee lagu daray magaalada iskuuladeeda. dawladda hoose ee magaalada Muqdisho waxa ay ku dadaashaa sidii loo kordhin lahaa dhismaha magaalada ee looga dhigi lahaa meel caafimaadka dadka u wanaagsan. Jaale Siyaadna waxa uu furay xaafadda Kaaraan kawaan cusub oo laga dhisay halkaasi oo loogu talagalay haweenka Soomaalidu marka ay wax gadanayaan ama hilibka doonayaan inay si fudud oo wanaagsan wax uga iibsadaan. markii ugu horeysay ayaa magaalada muqdisho waxaa laga dhisay dekad cusub oo si qumaatiya ay maraakiibta dibadda ka timaada ugu soo xidhan karaan madaxweyne jaalasiya dekadaasi ayuu furay waxaana dekadaasi loogu talagalay ayaa iyaguna subaxdaasi ka soo qayb galay bandhigaasi la yaab kale ee lagu xusayay sanad guuraadii 8aad ee ka soo wareegtay October 22keedii 1969 iyaga oo warmasita iyo dharkii Soomaalidu ay hidaha iyo dhaqanka u lahayd haween iyo ragna isugu jira ayaa halkaasi waxa ay ku mareen shirib la yaab leh iyaga oo xaafad waliba ay muujinayso sida ay ugu dadaasho horumarinta magaalada damaashaadkaasi weyn ee lagu xusayay sanad guurada 8aad ee kacaanka October waxa iyaguna qaybtooda ka qaatay heer guuraaga Soomaaliyeed iyagoo sita dharkii hidaha iyo dhaqanka Soomaalidu u lahayd warmahoodii gaashaamadoodii ileen ciyaar lagu ma haystee ayaa halkaas iyaguna shirib ku soo mareen
This is one of the saddest days in Somalian history. After the independence, obviously. Actually, this is the second. No, this is the third.
In 1967, Abdirashid A. Shamarke won the Somali presidential elections. The first president of Somalia.
May Allah grant you both the highest ranks of Jannah.
Stepped down.
Ameen.
The successful transfer of power between the two presidents was hailed across the continent and the world as a victory for African democracy.
Absolute legends. May Allah bless them both.
In the 1960s, at the height of the Cold War, the Somali Republic was a founding member of the non-aligned movement. Somalia, however, was too strategically important for it to be ignored by the two superpowers. The United States, under President John F. Kennedy, steadily managed to bring Somalia to its side as an ally.
Separated as we are by geography and history, we also find a sense of kinship to your government, which in its separation of powers between the executive and the legislature and the judiciary bear a resemblance to the balance of powers which we have felt in this country best ensures the liberty of the individual. We are particularly heartened to have you visit us. Prime Minister, you're welcome.
It was a growing relationship the Soviet Union could not accept. In 1968, President Shamarke narrowly escaped an assassination attempt. A grenade exploded near the car that was transporting him back from the airport, but failed to kill him. Though there was a growing conspiracy against his presidency and the democratic institutions of the country, President Shamarke embarked on a tour across the northern regions of the country in the grip of a drought. His intelligence officers advised him to not go on a country tour, citing the clear threat against his life. But the president replied, "I want to experience the difficulties of my people. If I don't travel there, then I feel that I have betrayed my people and my country."
Absolute legend. A true leader right there.
During an official visit to the northern town of Lasanad, President Shamarke was shot dead by his bodyguard. The news came as a shock to the Somali people, who were unaccustomed to political instability. Observers at the time suggested the assassination was inspired by personal rather than political motives. 5 days of mourning was declared across the Somali Republic. A day after the state funeral for the president, the Somali armed forces staged a peaceful coup. The coup was led by a Somali general who had graduated from the Frunze Military Academy in Moscow, an elite Soviet institution reserved only for the most qualified officers of the Warsaw Pact armies and their allies. Under the new military government, Somalia became the first country in Africa to establish a strategic friendship treaty with the Soviet Union and was henceforth led by a military junta practicing scientific socialism. The continuity of civilian-led governments in the Somali Republic had been permanently severed. The 1967 elections would be the last national one-person, one-vote elections in Somalia. The scheduled elections in 2021 will be the first in 54 years.
I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven. But
is that you?
The Justice Department releasing its biggest batch yet of
documents that you, bro?
Related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, including this fake Austrian passport.
Is that you?
Epstein's photo and a false name. The
Mr. Trumpy
also includes documents that mention President Trump. In one email, a federal prosecutor citing flight logs says Trump was a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996 between New York and Florida on Epstein's jet. That he traveled with his then-wife Marla Maples, daughter Tiffany, and son Eric. And saying on another flight, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and a 20-year-old whose name is redacted. The files also include this handwritten note, purportedly written by Epstein and sent to Dr. Larry Nassar, another notorious sex offender, including the quote, "Our president also shares our love of young nubile girls."
C'est l'histoire d'un petit pêcheur qui pêchait que le matin parce que pour lui le bonheur c'était d'être avec les siens, profiter de sa famille, lézarder sur le sable, regarder conduire ses filles, près un jour qui se reposait à côté.
Essa tá quente, a parada mais pra frente, vem muita gente, segura, mas tá.
By the way, the map that I have on the background, that's actually a Macrobian map. I think it is from the 9th century or something like that. I should be clear. A Macrobian world map. This is a world map, by the way.
You are telling me you don't want to support your own brothers and sisters of the Somali community because you believe that they don't believe that they are African or black. Let's be clear. Black is a Western label and it's not indigenous to African identity. Amen. No African people are required to center their identity around a term that has its roots in slavery. Somalis are African, specifically from the Horn of Africa, not the Fawn of Arabia. Don't you think that they know this? Different countries within Africa identify with their tribes first. And then you want to say Somalis want to be Arabs. We know historically that they had problematic and tense relationships with Arabs. Cultural or religious connections do not equal ethnic identity. A lot of Somalis are required to know their lineage called aptasi. They can go back through their paternal line, naming their ancestors. Somali is an indigenous term to Somalia, and they say it comes from the phrase Somal, go and milk. Medieval Arab and Ethiopian sources recorded the names like Somal, Somali, indicating people already used the name themselves. Imagine you have this rich culture, you can go back generations, and then you get to the Western world, you get told an English word, you're black. And the lie that you continue to tell
makes no
that they
sense.
Voted for Trump, which is not true, and even if they did, so what? Are they not allowed to engage in politics? Does it make you a better person because you voted for Kamala Harris?
You can clap for that, you can.
Whether it's left-wing politics or right-wing politics, there are 2 wings belonging to one bird. And I didn't know voting for Trump means that you should be deported. Why are we dealing with cult-like behavior? And you think siding with Donald Trump makes you safe? You're next. The identity crisis usually comes from the younger generation of the Somali community online.
Somalis are not black.
Somalis are not black. Let me explain why. Somalis are Arabs. We're in the Arab leagues. We speak the Arab language.
Fucking.
Somalis are definitely not black.
Genetically, we are closer to the North Africans than the West Africans.
Myself.
Alright, listen, I don't know where the fuck these kids are getting this shit from here. We're African, bro. End of fucking story. We have no fucking... Listen, no Arab, no nothing, bro. We're Somali, first and foremost. We're African. Khalas, bro. What the fuck is wrong with you people, man? Oh, we're not African, we're not black, we're not African. What's wrong with you, bruv? You're African. Where is Somali located? Horn of Africa. Listen, if Somalis were not located in the Horn of Africa, that region would have had the same issue South Africa went through. So you're telling me what? We're going to try to claim that we're Arabs? What are you smoking, bro? What are you smoking? The Macrobian Empire, it stretched all the way to the coast of Yemen. We've never went into fucking Arabia or anything like that. Did we trade with them? Yes, we traded with everyone. So wait, you're telling me just because we traded with the Arabs, we're Arabs? By that definition, we're fucking Chinese as well then? Fucking idiots, bruv.
Softer hair.
Yeah, exactly.
So we use that to say we're closer to Arabness.
Yeah, they're fucking... Yeah.
So that's why we see this brother is determined to be associated with North Africa.
I don't think any Somali can say that I'm not African.
Yes.
Thank you, bro.
I'm not one of those Somalis who says I'm Arab or I'm not black.
I'm a black Somali man. I am black, bro.
There you go,
use
man.
the term black, it helps us to find some type of connection. If you don't use the term black and you are African, you are still my brother, you are still my sister.
Bro,
peace.
We're African, bro.
Everyone loves to blame colonialism for dividing Somalis. What if I told you the truth is way more uncomfortable than that?
Story, bro.
Follow if you want Somali history based on facts, not assumptions. For decades, Somalis have repeated one line: Europe carved us apart. Yes, Britain, Italy, Ethiopia, and France tore through the Horn of Africa with zero regard. But here's the part nobody wants to admit. Colonialism didn't create Somali rivalry. It only weaponized what already existed.
Yes.
Look at history. Before Europe stepped foot in the Horn, Somali clans fought over grazing land, trade routes, and the control of port cities like Mogadishu, Zila, and Barawa. These conflicts weren't because Somalis were weak. They were because the land itself demanded mobility, strategy, and competition. But here's where it gets interesting. When the colonizers arrived, they didn't bring unity. They studied these rivalries, strengthened them, and redrew borders to guarantee Somalis would never rise as one powerful state. Britain backed one side, Italy backed another. Ethiopia played the long game. And the result? A nation that still argues about borders drawn by people who never spoke Somali, never lived the culture, and never cared about unity. Deep question. Do you think unity was stolen from Somalis? Or did Somalis fail to protect it? Another question. Which plays a bigger role today? Colonial lines or clan politics? Yes, no question. Should Somalia erase colonial borders if possible? Somalis aren't doomed. They were divided by design. Comment your view, follow for more truth-based Somali history, and share this to spark some real debate.
Now, I agree with that. They came and they said, oh, look, they're having an issue about that. Wait, hold on. That issue is very similar to what we seen during the East India Company. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe if we introduced the same concept as the caste system of India into these people, maybe we could divert their support from each other. That's exactly what's happened. Listen, yeah, I'm going to be straight with you, yeah. If a Somali came up to me and said to me, yo, listen, I swear to you, I say it with my chest, I would tell him, don't ask me questions like that. Don't ask me questions like that. Simple. Listen, if you ask me, we're fighting, bro. We're fighting. Are you telling me you're going to judge, you're going to treat me based on my qabil? والله الدقالة ربطها مان شاكدة تمجل عقاين ما تنا Wallahi, the guy Arabta. Listen, the whole concept of Qabil Kete, the Qabili, all of this, yeah, that is no one's business. That is not your business. That's not their business. That is no one's business. The only person whose business it is, yeah, are my children. Their children. Their children. Their children. Do you understand where I'm coming from? The only person that should be able to ask me, Khalil Kete, is my son and my daughter. They are the only two people that are allowed to ask me. So they could know who their father is. So they could know the lineage their father comes from. You know what I'm talking about? That's it. That's it. It should not have to do with any, oh, he's Hebel and Hebel. Furthermore, because he is Hebel and Hebel, we should give him this seat. Oh, no, he's Hebel and Hebel. Because he's Hebel and Hebel, he should be on that position. Listen, if you want to know who I am, I will give you my father's name. That's no problem, man. If you're thinking I'm some next Ajnabi, and okay, cool, fair enough. I'll give you my father's name. I'll give you my awawa's name. And then from there, you can do your calculation, whether you went to school with my father or you went to school with my uncle. You do your calculation. But the day you ask me, Khabil Kete, was the guy. Simple as that. It's none of your business. No one's business whose Qabil I am, bro. No one's business at all. If you're not gonna judge me here based on on my own merits, on what I have accomplished, on what I can do or what I can bring to the table, then why are we even having a conversation? I don't need it. And you saw what they did to our president. He was assassinated. Did you hear the way he was assassinated? By his bodyguard. Now, what did he offer? What's his name? Ibrahim Torres. What did they offer his bodyguard? They offered, yes, they offered the bodyguard to assassinate him while he's in sujood, while he's praying. If they left Somalis alone, if they left Kenyans alone, if they left the whole of the African continent alone, yeah, we would have been in a state of prosperity. Every country on the continent would have had a blissful, listen to me, a blissful growth over the years. No one would have been intimate. No French, no German, no Dutch, no. Listen, I mean it when I say it. If Somalis were not located on the Horn of Africa, the whole region would have fucking dealt with the same issues that South Africa dealt with. You would have had the Italians, the French, everyone would have had their fucking military base on the fucking land. But because they saw us here, putting our difference aside here, and fighting against foreigners, they thought to themselves, wait, hold on, how could they do that? I thought they were fighting. But they forgot the Somali saying, but they have Sogalin. They forgot that, but they in the Sogalin. So we had to put our stuff to the side and go deal with it. What happened to that unity, man? What happened to that unity? What happened to that? And then you get these far-right fascists who listen to their president. Do you really think Somalis are not about that life? I've had a few people message me since I've been uploading these videos. They message me. Bro, I don't know who you think you are, but I'm not that guy, man. Listen, I don't know what Andrew Tate has told you. I don't know what lies you've been told by your far-right influencers. You can clearly see these men don't know how to fight. Stop sending me messages like that, man. I'm being dead serious. Stop sending me messages like that. Because I'm not the one. Let me demonstrate to you that I'm not the one.
I'm not calling for violence, but I think the events of the last few days in terms of the boxing and entertainment industry have proven something.
Tell them, bro.
Supporting fraud, Jake Paul dressed up as a racist scumbag, as Hulk Hogan, and got his jaw broken in 2 places by a black man.
I'm not
Andrew
that guy,
T,
bro.
You know, the Romania guy, who I'm not sure if I can fully say his name on this platform, recently fought a guy called Chase in Dubai for some reason and got absolutely embarrassed. Bro was also on his knees a lot. Bro was going through the entire Bonnie Blue repertoire. To top it all off, as I'm sure you've already seen, Tommy 10 Names, Tel Aviv Steve, Little Tom Tom, whatever you want to call him, I also can't say his name on this app, got pressured by a boxer named Ty Mitchell at an event in Dubai, where that revolting, money-hungry, racist thug was for a Misfits event, being like, oh, my kids really like Misfits, whatever. And Ty Mitchell just came up to him and said, what are you doing in a Muslim country, given that all you do is preach hatred against Muslims and spread misinformation about Muslims online? And Little Tom Tom, who is little compared to Ty Mitchell, because Tom Tom's about 5'6", literally like crapped himself. Oh, you know how many Muslim friends I've got? Like he was terrified. He was very clearly terrified. He didn't have anyone around him. He didn't have security around him. He was just being confronted by another man on his behaviour, and he completely folded. It seems that when it's not an old man in a train station, he's not that brave. If the far right, if these scumbags want to preach violence and division and hatred, we should let them fight. They seem to lose or fold pretty often. I'm not advocating for violence. I'm just saying all of this violent rhetoric coming off of them about, oh, wait till I see you. You wouldn't last a second. Let them prove it. Because they're not proving it right now. Pull over for more.
Like literally, you ain't proving. Me, I don't go back and forth. You want some? Come get some. I serve 7 days a week. 24 hours a day. No days off. You can come get this any day of the week. That's it for the end of the video, guys. Thank you for watching. I just want to end on this note. 70% of the population of Somalis are under the age of 30. Somalia has the youngest population. All right? Now, what better way to steal from a young population, yeah, by making them seem like they are nothing, by lying to them about their history, by telling them their country is nothing, is a shithole. Imagine the Somali kids here who's never been back home, who's never seen the actual truth. Imagine what they'd be thinking. Because they grew up in the West, they're thinking, oh, yes, oh, no, nice. Because everything in the West is so convenient for them, they're thinking, oh, I'm not going to be able to get that back home. But little did they fucking know. Little did they fucking know. They lied to you about your country. They lied to you about your people. They lied to you about your land. But, it's okay for them to have military bases in your land. It's okay for them to fish out of your land. It's okay for them to take your oil, your gold, your minerals out of your land. Everything else, it's okay for them to take. But for you to be in your land, to dig that shit out yourself, no. You're an enemy. If you want to build your country and you're in Africa, you're an enemy. You need democracy. What? You want to bring water to your people? You are an enemy. Water is not human, right? You are an enemy. What? You want to create your own currency? Hey, you are an enemy. You want to stop a famine? Hey, you are an enemy. Hey, look, Burkina Faso just made 18 billion since kicking out the French. Oh, wow. You're an enemy. That money's mine. You're an enemy. Hey, Venezuela, that oil belongs to us. It's my oil, my land, mine. You don't know? You don't agree? You're an enemy. I'm going to surround you and your people. That's how the world works. You want to establish your country. You want to do things for yourself. No, you're an enemy. You're not allowed to do that. You are an enemy. You have to be a good little boy, yeah? Do everything Uncle Sam tells you to do. And if Uncle Sam decides it's okay for you to do something, then you can do it. But don't ask anything. Don't ask anything from Uncle Sam, because you're an enemy.